Hey, yo, what's up? This the KID, the Kid Capri. You are now hanging out on SUAVV. Stay tuned.
All right, man. First, yo, it's an honor to be able to actually have a conversation with you. I grew up on you. Hopefully, that don't make you feel old. But I grew up listening to your tapes, so it's definitely a pleasure to be able to talk to you right now.
Mhm.
You started your career, from my understanding. I did some research. Some of the stuff may or may not be factually correct. You started with music at 8 on your dad's turntable, scratching records.
Mhm.
For me, I think that was one of my best ass whoopings. So when I jumped on my dad's turntable, started scratching records, it was a wrap.
Mhm.
So is that when you found you had love for music?
Nah, I've had love for music when I came out of my mother's womb. I had a drum set when I was 4 years old. My father played. My
Wow.
father was a soul singer. My grandfather a trumpet player. So music always been around us. So I was always
Nice.
doing it since I was young. And when the DJ thing came out, it was inevitable for me to do that.
Yeah, you're one of the few people I've interviewed who actually grew up from the inception of what we consider the birth of hip hop.
Hmm.
Um, and being in the Bronx, born in Brooklyn, but raised in the Bronx, or you spent all your time in the Bronx, my
Hmm.
understanding.
Hmm.
Being in that atmosphere when that's happening and seeing what it's become, what was that like for you to witness that, like as a firsthand kind of situation?
I mean, you're in the moment, so it's not the impact ain't gonna be as it was later on when you realize what we done. But at the time, it was more like a hobby. It was more like fun, and years later, it became more serious. It was always serious with me, but it was more like a hobby. Instead of doing homework when you came home from school, you jumped on the turntables and did your thing. So, yeah, that's what it was. That's where it came from. It was just something from the streets and something for us to do to keep us out of trouble.
Yeah. Is that a reason that you gravitated towards it because it was something that was like directly speaking to you?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It was something that attracted me from the beginning, and but I also seen the future in it. I seen something bigger than what it was, and that's why I was able to do what I did with it.
Yeah. So you take on your career. You start putting out, or you start doing the parties first, and then you go from parties into putting out tapes and growing, not just as a DJ, but going into the producer mode of what you were doing as well,
Hmm.
A&R, like finding all that kind of thing. When did you when did you know that was your career? When did you know that's what you wanted to do, like as a full-time kind of thing?
From the beginning, I never had a plan
Wow.
B. Never been a thing where I said I'm gonna have something to fall back on. It's going to work, and that was my attitude, and it worked. You know,
Yeah.
that's how you got to be in a lot of situations. Like, your parents will tell you, you got to have something to fall back on. You got to, what I'm saying, make sure that it's the music industry, and then, they could go to, and they're right. But that wasn't my attitude. My attitude was it's going to work, and it's still that way today.
Yeah. And you have a lot more production credits than I was aware of before I started like doing my research.
Hmm.
Um when you're building a song and you're thinking of something that you want to create, what's your method of like of putting it together? Like when it comes to the music, the artist, the atmosphere, like how do you structure that?
It's just creating a feeling, like in my shows. My shows is a vibe, is a feeling. You hear me, you feel me more than you hear me. So that's the same way I treat records and music. And like when I produced my last album, when I produced the Love album in 2022, my album The Love, I wrote everything, I produced everything, I performed everything. Um, I just know exactly what people want because I've been doing shows all my life, 200, 250 shows a year all my life. And it's just a matter of becoming a fan of it So that's why I was able to do the Love album and come and put it to the high level that it's at and put it together that way because I know these things. You know, and growing up in the music business and doing what I do, I learned a lot. And even with
Yeah.
coming with the Hoodies album after my album, the Hoodies album, Hitting Gems album, I took these two young kids and made that album for them. So I always know what to do. It doesn't matter what the age group is. It doesn't matter what was going on at the time. I'm always in it.
Yeah. When you, because I actually want to touch on the Love album because I listened to it a lot in the last maybe month. I listened to it when it first came out, but I think recently the messaging in the album is a lot heavier. It feels like, because I don't know your purpose of the album, but to me it feels like your love letter to hip hop, like
Mm-hmm.
it from inception to current day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when someone of your caliber, someone who, again, you've been here from inception to now, when you see hip hop where it's at now, do you find it challenging to embrace where it's at now, or is this just another evolution of what the music is?
It's not the music itself; it's what's going on in the music business that's kind of turning it on. I mean, some. I mean, we didn't like everything in the '90s, so we ain't gonna like everything now in music.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, but things change, and you know, you got to move with the change, and either you like it or you don't. Know how to adjust to it or don't. But as far as like how the music business is going, you know, the companies and all the different stuff that's going on with streaming and how people getting paid and you know the watered downness of the music. Anybody can make a record, and you know albums don't sell no more because the narrative is that singles sell because people don't know how to make good albums. They have one or two records
Yeah.
on their album, and that's what people download. That's why my album, The Love Sound Way It Sound, hot from top to bottom. You got to make an album like that. And that's what I'm saying. Is like with those things, it kind of makes you feel like you know it's challenging more than what it was before. But when you're strong in this business, when you're strong at what you do, all those things don't matter. You just keep going and doing what you got to do day by day.
Yeah. Do you feel like today's artists are missing out on good teachable moments by not having that same reverence for like older hip hop artists and like the generals of what the culture is?
Absolutely, they missed out on a lot, and you're missing out every time. Like with me, my heroes always been the older people. If I want to know anything, I'm gonna ask those older people. You know,
Yeah.
they've been through it. They've been through it 10 times over. So how do you down somebody that's older, or how do you look down on it when that person been here way before you know way more than you? You're supposed to use them as a tool and learn from it. So with that part being said, you know, there's artists that been here, platinum, traveling the world, doing their thing. How do you not ask them questions? You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? You think that
Yeah.
you think that because they're older, they're out of touch. They're not realizing what you're doing and know what your music sound like. Yes, they do, but they also know what sounds good and what doesn't. You know what I'm saying? And you
Yeah.
can't convince
Yeah.
somebody that been doing it and doing it at a high level that your shit is dope when it really isn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and when
Yeah.
everybody's doing the same thing, everybody's doing the same thing. What's special in that? That's why the music sound watered down right now because everybody's doing the same thing. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's a fact. So you got to be special in this.
Yeah. When you look at the hip hop beefs that are out now, like battle rap is always a thing. Like it's always been something where like one crew hits another crew. Like you used your words, you kind of like went back and forth. Is it going too far? Like have they taken it too far with it going out of the music and going to the streets?
Well, I come from battle rap. Hip hop comes from battle rap, and in the new last 20 years of battle rap, or less than that, I was helping battle rappers from the time from before artists started jumping on them before they got hot. I was helping them. I
Yeah.
did an album called Top Tier that I haven't put out yet. Me and Low Deluxe, we shot this thing that we are gonna do for HBO, and then I did the Top Tier album. I did put the Top Tier album, but I got so much respect from the battlers because I was trying to help them before any artist really was, before they got
Right.
on. And these dudes, you know, where they from that time to now, you know, they went past the expectation of what it could be. But these dudes are very personal with each other. Like they'll get on stage and go at each other crazy, and say the most personal shit. And then after the battle's over, they shaking hands and palming up and going to get a drink and hanging out.
Right.
In this situation with Drake and Kendrick and everything that's going on right now, when you have people that's fans, that's, you know, over fans, and they feel like they got to be a part of something, start shooting at somebody's house or jumping somebody at an event, that's when it becomes different. That's where we're going in the direction of Biggie and Pac. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we don't need that. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have that when Jay and Nas was going at it. We didn't have that when LL and Kumo was going at it. We didn't have that, you know what I'm saying, when other battles was happening. Now, when it got to Biggie and Pac, it got different because now you had two coasts involved. You had it just got crazy. And to tell you the truth, I think Biggie. I don't even want to get too much into that, but I just feel like Biggie shouldn't have been out there in California 6 months after Tupac had passed. It was just too
Agreed.
early. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed.
So, you know, yeah, but and nowadays, like, we have an internet, so now it's way spread. More people will be involved because of the internet. And, you know, when they showing your house on the internet and stuff like that, that people can go right to your house and do something to you or try to do
Yeah.
something to you. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot different now. And we got to be conscious of that.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that during that Biggie Pac time, you were still, not even still, you were like one of the voices of hip hop. For me, it was you, Flex, Mr. C. I think Clue was kind of just starting, but like y'all were like the tapes we're listening to. Did you ever feel like there wasn't enough from the industry trying to stop it, or was there more happening behind the scenes that we don't know about?
You know what, to tell you the truth, man, I stay in my own lane, man. I don't know what goes on with everybody else and how their business goes or whatever. You know, I just see what I see. So I really
Yeah.
can't answer that. But what I will say is that you know, this is hip hop, man. Anything can happen. You know,
Yeah.
it's not like country music or R&B music or it's its own entity. So we had a lot of curves and swerves in hip hop. We the only ones that gotta dress a certain way and talk a certain way, and you know, we the only ones that when we don't, as not as good as our last record, you know, you don't have your fan base until you're hot again. Where country artists have a fan base, even though they put a whack record out, their fan base is still there for them. So it's a
Yeah.
constant challenge in hip hop, you know. So if you ain't strong, it ain't worth for you even getting in
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. For real. What I realized again, listen to the Love album, is you put an album out in 22 that didn't necessarily sound like it was in 22. And like you
Mhm,
said, you stay in your own lane, you do your thing your way. Is
mhm.
that a mistake that artists from like the 90s, early 2000s made trying to make the music that the 2020s kids are listening to?
Well, to tell you the truth, there are records on my album that the 2020 kids, 2024 kids are listening to, as far as Wide Awake, WTF. You know, these are South driven records, South beat type
Yeah.
records. But it's not about following what everybody's doing. I could take something and create my own. And the Love album is about a body of work. It's about a
Yeah.
body of work. It's not about every beat sounding alike. Every beat's a trap beat. Every beat is this type of beat. Every beat's that. I show you I could do everything on this album, from political, which it starts with "The Truth Will Never Lie." That's the first record on the album. Was a political record. The second record
Dope
is
record.
"Sucker Free." The second record is "Sucker Free," which is a commercial for my clothing line, "Sucker Free." Nobody has ever done that. I don't know if you really peeped that. That's a commercial, is the second song on my album. The third song, Slap Key, no, Wide Awake, that's a young song. Boom, boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom, 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 boom. That's a Young song. The fourth song, Slap Key, was the very first song I wrote when I made the album. And I made it because I didn't like what was going on in the net with the DJs. I seen shit that I didn't really appreciate and I didn't really care for. So I said, you know what, let me do something that they can't do. Or let me do something different.
Yeah.
And I wrote Slap Key. And from there, I did the rest of the album. But like I said, there's joints on there, the Her Type for the women, Move for the women, you know, the Block Party record, VIP. Like it's so many, the Uptown record with me and my daughter, Smash. These records, all it makes a body of work. So if you take that album and you take a lot of different albums and you listen, you'll see there's no comparison because of the body of work. There's something there for everybody. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
not a thing where you skip through my album. You know, Handsome
And I
Woman, real
think,
political.
yeah, I like the fact that, again, listening to it, there's a lot of albums I listen to and it sounds like one continuous track, which I mean, you get that
Right.
in the 70s. Like that's a old school Marvin Gaye kind of feel. You started at the beginning, you ended at the end. It sounds like it's one track. That doesn't happen
Mm-hmm.
with yours. But it's like there's a lot of artists that are doing that and you don't know which song is which. And it's like you have people calling it great and saying, these are goats. And there's no concept to it. It's just
You
like,
used to whack shit, whack shit, whack shit, whack shit. After a while, whack shit becomes good shit because all you know is whack
yeah,
shit. You know what I'm saying? So when the real gorilla comes through, it becomes different. And I'm not saying anybody shit is whack. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that there's a lot of whack music out there that they should know from the beginning it's not going to go. And when you have everybody making music and you got 60,000 records coming out a week on Spotify, it's very easy to get lost and lost. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're independent.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
really crazy for the music business right now. But that's why you got to stay in your own lane and do your own thing and feed your fan base. And if anybody else becomes a fan afterwards, then cool. But you just stay in your own lane. That's that. That's the best I could tell you.
yeah. No, I watched BET Awards this weekend, and I think my face was twisted half of the show. I was just like, "What is this? Like, what am I getting?"
I
It's
compared
it's
it to
almost
my
like,
I was comparing it to my BET Awards of last year. I don't know if you see my BET Awards last
which
year. I
was dope.
curated the whole thing,
Nah, the
which was
50th anniversary
incredible.
one,
Right,
nuts.
right. I had to host it and DJ it and put all the groups together and do all the things. So I wanted to see if it was going to live up to that expectation. I'm not here to criticize anything because I love what Jesse Collins does. But the complaint has been from people that it's a lot of skin.
Yeah,
It's a lot of skin, and
yeah.
that's not Jesse's
Uh,
fault. That's not just the way the kid. That's how everybody's. That's how music is going. So you
That's where
can't
it's
really
at.
blame anybody. That's where it's at. But I feel like it's going to turn into something different very soon. It's got to be more about. It's got to be more about the skills and more about how. I'm not. Nobody's judge a jury. I can't say what's supposed to be. All I know could be responsible is what I do. You know.
Yeah,
I don't know, but yeah,
I understand.
it's interesting to see where it's going.
I understand. Is when you do Uptown, and you pull your daughter on, your daughter is having a amazing start to her career, and what the industry is. Was there any hesitation of her coming into the music industry from your perspective, or is it just like you can protect her from where you're at?
Yeah, I mean, industry is what it is, and but I knew how she was, and so I knew she could handle certain things, but you're gonna bump your head. You're gonna bump your head in this business, and you just gotta be ready for it. And I knew she could handle it. She has a new record out called "Feel Right" out right now that's doing good. But she's always working, always dropping music, always putting stuff out. But she's independent. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be a thing where you got to keep moving and keep bumping, and you're going to get roadblocks and all that. But that's a testament to how strong you are when you get through all that, like I did. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, my blood run through her veins. So she's strong. She know how to handle it.
When you start, when you're in your career and things are going great as far as like the recognition is concerned. You're getting the accolades and the Walk of Fames and the Hall of Fames and all of the recognition. What does that feel like knowing where you started from in your career?
It felt good to know that, you know what I'm saying, I came this far and I watched people come and go in their career. You know, I've seen a lot of people come and go and wasn't able to sustain or stay around or be strong or relevant. And I happened to do that. Never had no downtime, always been here, you know what I'm saying? Because I look at it as I'm a fan and I'm not doing anybody a favor by being in it. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
once you have that type of attitude, you become a people person. And it's not you against them, it's you with them.
Yeah.
A lot of artists get on and think they're doing these people a favor. Once them lights are cut out, you done. So at the end of the day, you got to understand the blessing that you have and respect it. You know, don't abuse it, and treat people fairly, and God will take care of the rest. You know,
Yeah.
and that's how it's been for me. I always treated people fairly and did what I was supposed to do, and never curved or shitted on nobody to get where I had to go. So with those things, with those remedies, you're destined for greatness, especially when you focus and you determine, and nobody can tell you where you. Many times people tell you can't do this and you can't do that. That's because they can't do it, and they see that
Yeah.
in them, so they see it in you. Because
Yeah.
they can't see that far. But with somebody like me, I'm determined. My head is there. I'm always thinking 8 steps ahead to stay in the game. So it worked out, man. But God is really the real reason, because you can end up not being healthy. Last year I had cancer. You know,
Yeah.
last year in Hip Hop 50, while I'm doing all the shit I was doing, I was sick. Nobody even knew. It could have went a different way. You know what I'm saying? Like, so God bless you with your health. God bless you with these great things. Treat it with greatness. Don't treat it, abuse it to your liking. You see what's going on now with people. You do shit, you gonna get your shit snatched from you. You got to treat people good.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a jump back to that. But when you found out that you had cancer and you go into this fight, how did you how did you pull through? What was your motivation? What was that driving force for you to get through that?
To do everything that the doctors asked me to do. To do all my stuff. Don't miss no appointments. Don't think about it too much. Just do everything and get everything done. And that's what I did. Stayed on top of everything, made sure everything was taken care of, and took care of my business. And pray to God, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. It's definitely a blessing. That what I mean, you pull through, head still high, still motivated, still motivating others. Um, it's crazy because most people make the videos and start talking about what the condition is, and it's like you want that extra outpour of I guess I don't want to call it attention because that's kind of wrong word. But the fact that you dealt with it quietly and nobody knew until it was over, um, it says a lot. It didn't have that attention seeking kind of behavior. It was, I'm gonna deal with this and I'll catch you on the other side.
yep, yep,
So a
yep.
lot of respect for that.
Appreciate it.
Um, how do you guide the younger generation from having to deal with things that can come about that you've had to deal with that you can look at and say that's an ugly moment? How do you mentor them away from that?
I never had really a lot of ugly moments for myself, because I didn't put myself in ugly situations. You put yourself where you want to be at. I'm gonna do that when I come off the road. I'm in my house. I don't hang out. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I go out when I have to. If it's business or something I need to be at, then cool. But as far as I got to be at everybody's event, be out all the time, no. I'm home. I have enough fun in my house, enough stuff to do in my crib, producing music. Everything I need to do is in my crib. and it keeps me out of the way. Makes people, when they do see me, it's more of glad to see me than why is he around still, or him again. Seeing you all the time. They see you on the net. Even when on the net, you see me. You see the business. You see me doing the work. You don't see me showing off my possessions. You don't see me bragging about what I have and what I own. I'm not, you don't need to see all that, because I know people that's
Yeah.
rich as hell that you'll never know is rich as hell, and they walk around in regular clothes, and they laugh at people that brag and shit about what they got.
Yeah.
So my way of carrying myself have been like that forever, before damn internet. I just I just don't celebrate things that people celebrate. I get more into what the work is and getting the job done. I'm more into dealing with who can get the job done than the popular person. The popular person could be popular because they was on TikTok and got a good record that did something good. That doesn't mean that they're good at on a stage or good at anything else. They just got some luck. That's a popular person. That's not a person that's going to get the job done. I want the
Yeah.
job done. You know what I'm saying? So that's why when you got to look at the older people too. Like when you say certain things, the older people get the job done, like a lot of the young people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So and then there's young people that don't get the job done. So it could work either way.
Yeah. It's crazy you say that. Like when I lived in New York, I tell my friends I'm in Atlanta now, but I'm like, you be on a subway and there's a billionaire on the subway. You don't know
Yeah,
they're a billionaire, but they
right.
there. And it's like they're not, you'll never know. They got on like Skechers jeans and the sweatshirt. You have no
Mm-hmm.
idea.
Right.
And they get off in, Fifth Avenue-ish, Upper East Side, get off the train, go to $1 million penthouse. Like it's a different kind of vibe. And I feel like right now the culture is flashy. It's always been a little flashy, but now it's just like money phones and I got this, I got that. You posting where you at, you get robbed, people shooting. It's a different kind of braggadocious that doesn't necessarily work the way that people think is going to, and it just makes you more
Right.
of a target than anything else.
Right, right. Hip hop always been bragging. I mean, Run DMC, that was bragging like big chain on the neck. It always been a part of
Right.
that. But there's a way of doing things within itself. Like if it's within the music, if it's within the hip hop, and that's how I look cool. But when you take it outside of that, and every chick is calling herself a bad bitch, and you know every dude is showing off, it's like it becomes an attention thing. It becomes and you and me, as real as I am, I can see through it. I can see when you just want to be seen, or you just want attention, or you just talking just to be talking because you got a phone and nobody can stop you from
Yeah.
pressing the start button. Like so we just got to be more mindful within ourselves of how we moving out here. You
Yeah.
know, that's it.
Now, who's who's artists now? Like which artists now do you look at that are in this current generation of rappers, and you say, or you can look at them and see like there's a lot of potential in that person?
NEL Chopper.
Mm.
NEL Chopper's dope. First of all, he can rhyme his ass off, but also he has something. He has something, and I think he has a lot of positivity to him too. I see D1 music, D1 out there, trying to spread the right message out there for people. And I'm not saying that you have to be a preacher or you have to, you know, become this goody two shoes dude or nothing like that. But
Yeah.
you just gotta understand, man. It's either gonna get worse or it's gonna get better. Which one you want to choose? Which side you
Right.
want to be on? You want it to get better? You want it to get worse? What's up? So
Yeah. When you I had a little argument on Twitter the other day, and I was telling this dude, he was like, rappers need to just rap and stay out of politics. And I said basically hip hop culture has always been political. It was a message of what the street was going through
the
in our
message
own
is
voice
the
and saying,
message. Yeah, the message. Melly Mel is a political record.
right. So
Yeah.
I was like, message specifically the message, fight power, like Brenda had a baby, like all of that it's all political. it's not done in a preach format. It's just letting you know, like, this is what's going on. This is how this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
How do you change that? Um, are we, is the generation now, are they missing something by not speaking on, I guess, the truth of what the community goes through, or is that their truth?
It's their truth, but it's also, people don't like to seem like they preachy. People don't like to seem like they especially younger people. Younger people, they growing up, they finding their way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So they're not gonna be as conscious as somebody that's older, that been through stuff. Especially a
yeah,
person that they never left where they from. They stayed where they at, and that's all they know. And now they get a chance to get out and see things now. But when they grow up where they at in their environment, and all they see is what they see, then that's all they know, and that's how they live. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Until they see the bigger picture, and then they can
yeah.
learn to do other things. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know if that answered your question.
No, it does. It does. Because again, it's the mindset of, it's kind of giving them like the, that ain't really our business. That ain't really our thing. Like, y'all
Mm-hmm.
should be figuring this out. We just here to have fun and make some money. Like,
Right.
we getting bags and just having a good time.
Right.
Um, so I think that in general, we put a lot of responsibility and accountability on them to do these things because they have fan bases, but they may not, they may not be aware of a lot of things that are happening. So it might not be their life and their stance.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when you made a lot of albums, you've produced a lot of albums, you work with a lot of people. Um, what's one of your most memorable collaborations?
Me and Madonna.
Which is epic.
Yeah, me and Madonna. When she asked me to produce Masterpiece for her, I did that. Me and Jay-Z, it's like that. Plus, I gave him Hard Knock Life. I didn't produce Hard Knock Life, but I gave it to him. Um, Me and 50, Rowdy Rowdy. Um, I produced everybody. Busta, Nas,
Yeah, you
shit.
got a lot. Well, I
Yeah, a
mean,
lot.
even you did
Heavy D.
Kendra's album, which is the only rap album that has a Pulitzer Prize.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what does that feel like? I guess first there, and then second, you did the narration. Not the narration. You came out with J Lo on her tour, or her Vegas residency rather, and you did like the Bronx version or the Bronx section of that concert. So I guess starting with the Kendrick one, what is it? What did it feel like to narrate that album, and then that album wins a Pulitzer?
Well, one first, I asked Kendrick. I said, "Yo, why you didn't get?" I said, you had DJ Pooh and Battle Cat over in the West Coast. Why you didn't get them to do this? He said, I love them dudes, they legends and everything. He said, but I know what you did for the music business. I know what you did for DJs. I know what you did for moguls. I know what you did as a whole. So I wanted the organic thing on this album. It was a
Yeah,
surprise to me because he's such a young dude. He really knew. He knew his business. He knew what it really was. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a thing where he seen Kid Capri and he know what I do, and but he knew the history. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And that's a difference. And that meant that spoke a lot to me. So then when the album comes out, first of all, I didn't hear the album until it was done. I just did what I did, and then he put it all together, and then the album came out. When I heard the album, I was like, wow, this shit is different. But I didn't expect it to do what it did as far as getting the Pulitzer Award and be the only hip hop album in existence to have it. So
yeah.
he put my voice in countries and places I've never been to. I've been a
Wow.
lot of places. He put my voice in places I've never been to. I wish we could have did a lot more as far as being on, doing shows together and the tour and because he didn't need me, of course. But if he would have had me, it would have been double a fucking tsunami in there. So, but what he did do is something that's gonna last forever and ever and ever. Besides, bigger than any show. So,
Yeah.
shout to him. Right now, he's the hottest thing smoking. That
Yeah.
thing not like us is
Yeah.
real heavy. But shout to Drake too, man. Drake is a monster.
Yeah. Do you think again, knowing that back and forth, do you think the industry is making that bigger than what it is, or bigger than what it should be? Or is it just the fans? Is it because I feel like with the two of them, they have having their moment, but they're not making it as big as everyone else is making it. Is everyone escalating this to be a bigger thing than what it needs to be?
Well, didn't the two coasts escalate pocket big to what it was?
Yeah.
And so when you got when you got hardcore fans, they're going to come alive.
Yeah.
That's why somebody shot at Drake's house and shot the security dude. Because you got
Yeah.
hardcore fans out there that go into a frenzy when you do something against their heroes. You see what I'm saying? And,
Yeah.
if you got people out here running up in post offices and shooting, running up in schools and churches and shooting, what would it take to piss somebody off that if you mess with their hero? It's the same thing. It's nothing. It's just a trigger. It's a
Yeah.
trigger, and they go and do whatever they do on impulse. The dude was right in front of Rick Ross. They were talking. Next thing you know, he punched Rick Ross in the face. Like, what was said, I don't know. But that was something that looked like it was premeditated. Like he wanted to do
Yeah.
that. You know what I'm saying? And regardless of who you are, you can't stop somebody from doing something. You could try to react to it, but if somebody's going to do something, they're going to do it. You know what I'm saying? And you just got to be ready for it.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy because it's if Rick's squad responded in the way that one thinks they should, then it becomes a bigger problem than it was with the guy swinging on them.
Absolutely. We're in the
So
time
it's
right
almost
now.
like you can't do nothing back for real and stay safe and keep yourself clean.
Yeah, it's like right now you beat somebody's ass, it don't just be that. They coming back to shoot you. You see what I'm saying? Before at one time you whipped somebody's ass, that's what it was. They got their ass whipped. This is what it is. But now they can't take ass whipping. So now you got to deal with that part.
Yeah. I guess my last question, knowing that you stand on shoulders of people like Who Hurt, people like Grandmaster Jay, Grandmaster Flash, Grandmaster Theodore, knowing that you stand on their shoulders and you are in position to be able to put people on your shoulders. What does that look like for you? Are there people that you're looking at and you're like, let me take you in and put you in great position?
If you look at Technician or DJ for the Locks, Technician's been on the road with me 20 years, maybe more. He learned a lot of things. That's why he's as great as he is. He learned a lot of things seeing me coming up and, seeing other people that he, was fans of. But he spent a lot of time with me on the road.
Right.
So look at him, and he didn't have to shit on nobody or be foul on nobody to get where he's going. He did it, he's doing it right. Just anybody I ever work with, I always try to make sure they have a position some kind of way. Technician, what happened with him with the Locks and Verses, that was his own thing. It had nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? But him being around and us being family and everybody, connecting, he got a chance to mingle with different people and do different things and get involved with different stuff. So, and he always been around. It's just that he was always quiet,
Yeah.
So I'm proud of him. Yeah, there's a long list of people that I've helped. I don't want to go into everybody.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely. What do you want the Kid Capri legacy to be?
Made people have fun. Made put smiles on people's faces. Created opportunities for other people. And didn't have to shit on nobody to do it. I did it. I do it flawlessly. I do it effortlessly, and I do it genuinely. So that's what my legacy is, that I made people enjoy, have fun, and look cool doing it.
Perfect.